Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm bringing you another global monthly video hop. So myself and demonstrators from around the world choose themes each month to create projects for you using Stampin' Up! Products. So in the description below this video, I will have links to the other demonstrators' videos. So when you're finished watching mine, you can just click the links to hop along to see some other wonderful videos to inspire you. So this month's theme is a sketch theme. So I've never actually made a card from a sketch. I have looked at other cards and made similar ones, cased them, etc., and come up with my own designs. But this time we've got a sketch. So the sketch for October looks like this. So it's actually a slimline card, but it will fit in a standard envelope because it's not a long card. So for being here in New Zealand, I went with a 15 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters. It's basically a 15 by 15 centimeter square, and you score it in the center to make the card. We have a circle focal point, a rectangle layer behind that, and another rectangle layer on the base card, and your text coming out the side. So the card that I came up with using the Kindest Gnomes bundle is this one here. So I'm going to recreate this, and if you've watched any other of my videos, you know I will change it up slightly. So this one is using the Kindest Gnomes Designer Series paper that has lots of beautiful, oh actually it's called the Storybook Gnomes paper. Now I will list all the products I use in the description below this video as well. So if you want to purchase any or see what I was using, you can have a look there. So I use a designer series paper, 2 different sheets for this rectangle and that one there. And I also use the page that you can cut the gnomes out. So with the Kindest Gnomes stamps and dies, the dies will allow you to cut the 4 different gnomes that you can stamp as well as the mushroom. However, you can also use the mushroom and 2 of the dies, the 2 dies for these images, to cut out parts of the designer series paper. And that way you don't need to color it. So that's what I've done with this one. So that gnome there came from the designer series paper. So that's why it looks very nicely colored, because it's actually designer series paper die cut. And so that's my image here. Just to give you a close-up, on this one as well, I did some of the puff paint that you, actually let me get the actual word, hold on. There we go. There it is there. So the Snowfall Accent Puff Paint. So it's a liquid, sort of like paint, but it's very runny, and you put it on your paper and then you use your heat tool to heat it up, and when you heat it up, it goes from liquid to this puffiness. So let's see if you can zoom in here. There we go. So I did that on some of the trees, and I also used my Wink of Stella to put some shimmer. There, you can see some shimmering there. So I used the Wink of Stella to put some shimmer onto the paper just to jazz it up. That's the Wink of Stella brush. It looks, if you haven't used it before, it looks like a brush, kind of clear silver-like, and you simply brush it over things and it gives a bit of shine. I even put it on the beard. Let's see if I can get that in the video. There you go. So see how it just shines? So I put it on the beard and the little bits of snow and snowflakes on the paper. And then I use the pearls on this one as well. The background here, I also used a one of the leaf label, and it comes with gems as well. With this, they're called labels because they've already poked a hole in it. So you can just use it as a label and tie it. But I didn't want that to be shown, so I've got that hidden underneath his hand there. There's the holes there. So that's the one there, and then I've just stamped one of the images on the inside. So this one was done with the Night of Navy base cardstock and the Pacific Point for the circle there. I'm going to do another card with slightly different colors, and I'll show you here. So as I said, you start with a square. This is a 15 by 15 centimeter square. Score in the half in the middle at 7.5 to give you your Slimline card. And then you need an inside. If you're doing a colored base, you need an inside. So the inside is just slightly smaller. So this inside piece is 7 by 14.5. And I made another piece to use for the top part there. So I got two identical pieces of the basic white. And then I'm going to layer it up with the designer series paper, and this one again is 0.5 centimeter smaller, so I went with 6.5 by 14, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, so that one's 6.5 by 14. So I just took 0.5 centimeter off of each layer as I went down, and so that's the other side. So this is the opposite side of the original card I did. So I'm doing the base of this one using the Pacific Point because that's what I have in that background. And then I had a scrap piece of designer series paper that's left over from another project I did. So that's got some snowflakes in it. And that piece is 3.5 centimeters by 7.5. So this one will do the full height. So it goes the full height of the card. And it's just a narrow width. So that's keeping in line with the sketch here. Goes right to the edges there. Then my focal point, I've taken in the Balmy blue, which is, that's kind of, that's actually a pool party, I think. But I've taken Balmy blue just to give another color, because this time I've die cut from the designer series paper the female gnome. So we've got this gnome here. And that's the background of that paper. So that's going to be my focal point there. And I've decided to use one of the snowflakes. Let's see if you can see the shimmer on that. There's a little bit of shimmer going on there. The other side is matte, flat finish. So if you want it to color these, you can actually use your blending brushes to color and have a colored snowflake, or you can just go with the white shimmer. And that is called the Wonderful Snowflakes. And they come in a nice pack where you get 6 on each sheet, and I believe you get 4 sheets of each. So you can keep it and do die cuts through center parts. So you pop the snowflakes off individually, like shown there, and then what's left over you can do die cuts. So it's a good item to get, and get lots of use out of it by doing some die cuts. All right. And then I'm going to stamp and die cut the words using the Stylish Shape dies. There's lots of different interesting shapes in this set, circles, squares, and some like flagged ones. So I'm going to use that as well. So let's get started. It's not a difficult card to do. Now I've already pre-stamped one of the gnomes for the inside. And let me just layer these bits up. And the only stamping other than the gnome on the inside, I'm going to put the words Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, which comes from the stamp set. There's a few different words you can choose from the stamp set. And I'm just using my Pacific Point ink to bring in the color from the background. And just going to stamp it on a bit of scrap basic white. Big enough. There you go. Big enough that the die will fit it. And get my ink out of the way so I don't make a mess. So I will go off screen and die cut that with that little rectangle, yeah, sort of a rectangle flagged die, and it gives the nice stitched outline. So I'm going to do that off screen. In the meantime, I will put together this card. I like to use the tear and tape. You might like to use liquid glue or the stamp and seal. I'm just very used to just using our tear and tape, which is great because as the name implies, you just tear the end off of it. And I like to do little tags. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I do the tags. So you pull a bit out from your tape, give you a little tag, and that way you've only got sticky revealed in a couple spots. So if you misalign it, you can pull it up easily and realign it. So you basically set it down and press when you have your evenness where you want it to be on the part that's been exposed. And once you're happy with that, you just peel away the rest of the backing for your tape. So that's that side, and then this one is the same. It's just clear white. You could go with a different color. You could make a larger, make it smaller so you have more of the background card showing. You could emboss one of the background layers, but I'm just doing it exactly how the sketch is showing us. So, I mean, this isn't to size, but that's basically the rectangle layer. And I'm actually layering up a couple layers. So we've got our base, and then I've got a white layer, rectangle layer, going on top of the base, giving me a bit of an edge there. Sorry, I keep going off screen. Okay, and once you're happy with that, pull your bits off. Let me move everything up, and then I'll try to stay on screen. I'm trying out my new phone, so this is the first video I'm doing with my new Oppo phone. I had an Oppo phone before, but I've now upgraded. Okay, now we're going to use that side. That goes better with the background. So we're going to layer that one up. And when you are putting things down, you don't need to go overboard with your adhesives, because unless you give it to a child that's going to try to pull it apart, which hopefully they won't, you just need enough to hold it down. So if it's quite a big rectangle like that, just on either side sufficient. You could even turn this into a gift card holder. They could slip a gift card in the open side if you want it. So there we go. That's my next layer. So I'm actually layering up a couple layers. So see that I got slightly off. So because I only had a little bit revealed of this tape, I can pull it up easily and realign it. So I'm just trying to get an even amount around the outside, and then you just pull it away and just slide it and slide it. So this piece here is going to go there. So it goes all the way from the top to the bottom as shown in the sketch. So again, I'm just going to use my tear and tape. If you're not familiar with tear and tape, one is fabulous. Some people call it double-sided tape, which it is. But the Stampin' Up! One is really good because the backing doesn't rip when you try to pull it away like I was showing you. And the easiest way to do it, I find, is put one end where you want it to start, holding your roll in your other hand, whether you're left or right-handed, and just have a large section loose and slide it up to where you want to go. If you don't have nails to pull it away, you could just simply use a block, hold it there, and pull against the block. And see, it pulls away quite neatly. And what I love about it is you don't have to stop and get scissors out and snip it, because the paper is easy enough to pull off. Quite often I see people tape, then they drop everything, get their scissors out, cut it away, and then they have trouble peeling it off. The other thing is, if you don't have nails and you can't peel the edge off, you may have seen in my other videos, just something sharp, whether it's the edge of your scissors or a picking tool or something, just kind of gently, anywhere randomly in the center, just kind of rub back and forth until you get one side to release. And do that again, just kind of rub it. I'm not poking down, I'm poking at a side angle. Okay, now I could probably pull it all the way off because it's such a small piece, but I'm so into doing the tabs that I just go ahead and do it automatically. So you just line it up however you want it to be for your focal point. Okay, and just go straight up and pull that away. And that one's done. Oh. So now I'm going to layer up my circle. Now I've brought in the other blue because it matches a bit of the colors on the gnome. And because one side, see, one side shiny and one's not, you can easily glue on the not shiny side. But if you haven't noticed, see the center of the snowflake? It's made that way on purpose because it happens to be the exact same shape as our dimensionals. So you can grab one large dimensional, making sure that you're not doing it on the shiny side, so doing it on the matte side. You see it fits perfectly in the center. So you can't see that dimensional. So it is made that way. It's purposeful. So I'm just going to put some tape on the back of my circle, and I'm going to put that one down flat. I could put some glue on here, but my bottle of glue is getting a bit low, so I'd probably end up banging it on the table more than I would actually using it. So even when you have nails, sometimes it's easier just to get in there. Move it back and forth. There we go. I'm just going to pull those bits off. Okay, and being a circle, it doesn't really matter which way around I go. I'll pop it right there. And then peel the back off my dimensional. That fits perfectly there. And I'm just thinking, I think I will put that centered. And then I think I will put my gnome off to the side. I'm going to die cut my words now, and that will determine kind of where I'm going to put my gnome. Be right back. Okay, so there's my words. So this one shows the words like right to the edge, but I think you can just do what you want. I could trim the end off and have it come straight from the edge if I want it. I think I like it just kind of floating there. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on that. The other nice thing with the dimensionals is you can cut them. So like I cut through entire sections, so I end up with half pieces. And that way I don't waste them. Some people like to go crazy with the dimensionals and put lots on their projects. But I think it depends on what you're doing with them, if you're hand delivering them. If you're posting them, it's probably better not to use as many dimensionals because it ends up being too thick and you can't get it posted. But see, that way, instead of using like 3 dimensionals on here, full-size ones, I'm able to do it with 1.5. So we'll pop this guy over here. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just about there. And this one, I think having it slightly offset. I kind of like that look, the slightly offset look. So I'm going to put a few dimensionals on that one, which will also help to keep the snowflake in place. And if you have a look at the designer series paper for this, for the gnome, the Storybook paper, you'll see that Stampin' Up has made them in all different skin shades. Skin tones, rather. Shades. So yeah, you can have different colored gnomes. And this one is a bit of a brown colored gnome. But there's all different shades. Let me see if I can get that paper out and show you. There we go. So that's what I cut it from. So the die that cuts the stamps will also cut the gnomes. And as you can see, there's different colored outfits and different colored skin tones, which is good because we now have the different Stampin' blends, so you can get skin tones and, you know, different colored hair. We've got some gray hair, some black hair, some red or ginger hair, brown. I don't really see any blonde hair, but different shades. So that's the paper, and then that's the other side is kind of like, I think of that as knitting, kind of like my sweater here. Okay, so there we go. I just popped that down. And because I put the dimensionals not where that first one was in the center, it's not forcing the gnome up higher than that original one. So there, that was quick. There's the sketch, and there's my card. Now, I could leave it there, or I could go in with some Wink of Stella, and I think I might actually maybe try putting a few snow dots on it. Actually, I'm not going to do that because I've got my beautiful pearls, so I'm just going to add some pearl accents to it. These are the new iridescent pearl basics, and you can color them. I've colored a few with my Stampin' blends, so you can color them. I am going to pop a few of those around, a few of the small ones, and I picked them up. They've adhesive back, so I just use the end of my scissors sometimes just to pick them up. And I'm just going to pop a few around. Just makes it, the blue stand out a bit better, I think. When you're putting your little embellishments on, it's always best to do them in like sets of even numbers. So there's 1, 2, 3 there. Hopefully you can see that. Or I could do 5. I might actually add a couple more. Just because in nature, that's what you get. You have things are even. If you ever look at flowers and stuff, you probably notice they have an even number of leaves, an even number of petals. So that's the thought process there. So I've now put 5 on there, and you can see it shimmers a bit. But I love my shimmer. So I think I'm going to go a bit crazy and get my Wink of Stella out. So don't, you have to prime it when you get it, and if you prime it too much, you get a big mess like that. So don't squish it too much, because it does say push. There you go. It says push. And you do push there to get it started, but once you have some on the tip, just leave it. And I just kind of gently, let's see if you can see. So that's shiny. So see that I'm going to try to color a few of these on camera. Kind of hard to do it. And so I'm not being neat. I'm just making a mess there. But you can't, it's just kind of a clear shimmer. So I'm just going to do some of these big guys. And you can always add more. But it just adds a bit to your project. Gives you a bit of shimmery goodness without mess. Like if you were trying to put glitter on something, that can get quite messy. So I'm just doing some of these big snowflakes around. And I do it after I put the paper down, because if you did it before, you might have a lot underneath parts that you're not going to actually see, so it doesn't matter. So you don't want to waste your Wink of Stella on areas that you're not going to see. So I'm just doing little blobs. Not, because as I said, it's clear, so you're not really going to see anything but the shimmer, so it doesn't matter. You can do your Wink of Stella on ink stamped images, but just be aware they might run. The paper, as you can see, is not going to bleed or run, but you might get that if you do it on a stamped image. But if that's what you want, like you could stamp your image and then drag a bit of the color with the tip to give you an interesting look. But be aware the color might stain the tip of your brush here, so you don't really want to go too overboard. Another tip too is if your Wink of Stella runs out, you can pull the top off and you can add a bit of our ink refill, a couple drops in there, and then you would have a colored shiny bit, because if you shake it up, it starts to get shiny again. Now let's see if we can see that on the video. Come on, show us the shine. Oh, there we go. There, I think you can see a little bit in the top corner. Just has to do with the angle that I hold it at. So you can see a bit of shininess there. There we go. Now on my other one, I did some shiny on his beard, which is much easier to see. Okay, so there we go. So those are my two sketches I did for the challenge for our Global Monthly Video Hop. Look in the information below, and it will tell you the products I used and the codes. So if you do want to order any of those, contact your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you live in New Zealand and don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can go to my website, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and order from me. I'd love that. And you can order from anywhere in New Zealand from me. You just have it sent directly to your house. You have to pay shipping whether you have it sent to me and I deliver, or if you have it sent to your house. Give me a thumbs up if you like that, and please click on the other links to go have a look at the other demonstrators and see what they made with their sketch challenge. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.